Welcome back to the Southeastern Esports League. Rocket League Week 3 group stage is in its business end. And we just saw a big win out of UCF Academy in the first series slot between two and two opponents fighting for a last chance qualifier spot. And TJ, we kind of get to rinse and repeat that storyline here with UTD Green and Florida Southern.
Same storyline, but bump it up in terms of the heat scale. We're looking at a Tier 1 matchup now, and a UTD Green team that was extremely hot to kick off the season are now finally starting to find their testing points. And for Florida Southern, a very similar story. They've looked extremely hot coming out the jump. They take on the UTD A team. They lost in 5 less than 10 minutes ago. So now, do we see them take their anger out here on the official UTD C team, or is the C team going to come out and do the same thing?
The C team does not feel like an apt description for UTD Green. It's the supposed varsity team of the Comets. So we'll get into things here. Astro, Zipper, and Soj are making their reappearance on the SEL mainstream this season as a Wisecal and his boys get to make their debut on the main channel and maybe pull off a big upset that would plummet FSC down the standings after they looked so good. But we'll talk about that if it comes. Astro has already scored.
And Astro also with a period in his name. I'm not sure if that was changed after their Game 5 loss, but either way, Florida Southern always shows up to these stream matches absolutely locked. I don't expect that to change. They kick the scoring off early here.
Astro always has the period in his name, from what I've seen, unless he's forced to change it. So not a product of the Game 5 loss, more than likely. But UTD Green, see if they can take advantage of Florida Southern, maybe coming out of that reeling a bit. It's the first time I've gotten to watch UTD Green play this season, TJ. So I'm eager to see what all the hype is about, in all honesty.
I did get to watch the VOD in its entirety when you looked at that UTD Green versus UTD game. And we've already talked about it in an SEL segment. We talked about it in State of the SEL before. That was a lot of shock and awe for even the UTD Rocket League program. I believe they had their B team casting it, funny enough, and some subs here and there, and they were shocked to see how that series went. So if that is the result and overall reaction from the program itself, I don't even know what to expect from everybody else.
That poor B team, like, caught between the oldest child and the youngest child, fighting it out and just casting, watching the fight happen. But so far, UTD Green, I mean, they're surviving against FSC at the moment, but Florida Southern have, I think, higher quality offense on the board, though we are in an extended fight over possession at the moment. That Soj will come out on top of. A pop there over towards Zipper, leading to a center ball, and Astro's contested by a Wisecal. So actually what I thought was the end of the fight will just be the continuation.
Midfield presence is always the name of the game when you talk about high-level Rocket League, especially Tier 1 here in the SEL. But with Florida Southern, we've already gotten a very nice hold of what their offense looks like, and they're very much so the aggressors when it comes to the offensive half of another team and also their own defensive half. They are not afraid to push many players forward. They're not afraid to let any member of this roster play aggressive and make their actions. I mean, they've been perfect so far in this game, at least taking the lead, but we'll see if they can uphold that against a formidable UTD Green team. And now we'll see if Oasis can maybe find some room here in the midfield. Not sure if Tobel is going to be able to find anything. As Zipper does have room down. Astro does go right side, and it does force all 3 players to get in the middle of the pitch, but it looks like that they will survive. But again, they're not finding the counterattacks just yet.
No, and field domination's only getting more and more lopsided. It's about 60-40 at the moment, which is workable for the Comets of UTD Green, but they need some offense soon. No shots registered so far, and it's been low boost in defense, just trying to find an opening. There, Astro flies past the ball and sets his sights on Gerardo, but no contact made. In fact, a save is found by UTD Green, though Gerardo this time around is going to pull some magic out of the back line because that ball is sitting awkwardly on the goal line. Zipper's doubles, no good. It's a center ball, and Astro will end up scoring again. 2-0 Moccasins.
You have to give credit to the UTD Green defense, but for how long can you do that? I mean, it's only a matter of time before you give Astro just another chance in front of your net, and very rarely will he miss out on a chance like that. So under 2 minutes to go, big lead for Florida Southern.
Field domination's only grown 65% now for Florida Southern. They are doing well to hold down the midfield line, but starting from their corner, Zipper will toss that ball away. Couldn't keep control, and so there's the first shot for UTD Green here. It's saved by Astro, but maybe this is the offensive that gets the Comets going.
They've got to find more, though. They can handle the midfield defense at a time and maybe find each other on a passing play. But we have yet to see them get a real look at the back of the Florida Southern net or even the front of it at that point. Not even one of the posts at this point of the game. As now with just about 70 seconds to go, we'll see if Astro can help stall some time off, and will do so, as now Zipper does have a free ball, but is met quickly by a UTD player. As now Soj has to be careful. It's a 2v1, and Gerardo does get a shot, but Soj reads it beautifully. As now Tobal does have a play off the sidewall, but not much there for him, as Astro will look for maybe a potential dagger here late. Soj will go on net, but now Zipper by himself, but uncontested. And now Soj, another free look, but can't get back to it. But no concern for any Florida Southern fans, as they have yet to leave their own half. Or, sorry, they haven't even had to touch their own half. They've been all in the UTD Green side.
And they are rewarded for it. More pressure equals another goal for Florida Southern. And this is a handy lead at the end of game one. Good steal as well by Zipper to prevent Astro's hat trick. He, I'm sure, was getting far too big an ego after this game one performance. Zipper will take him down a notch by tapping that ball in. But 30 seconds, this really has been a complete Florida Southern performance. Astro's doing a lot of the scoring, but the full team has to be involved to keep possession on the green side of the pitch. And Oisical will get away here, maybe find a shot, doesn't register, and even so, I think even with that going in, it was an uphill climb in the final 15.
10 seconds left here. It's just a formality at this point. It's been an incredible performance led by Astro, which in the past times they've been on stream, it didn't have to be all about Astro, as Soj and Zipper have proven time and time again that they are the arguably most formidable duo in Tier 1 in their pool. And that's a bold statement, but I'm willing to stand by it because they've seriously impressed us, and they'll continue to do so here on mainstream, taking a Game 1 win.
All right, I like the hot takes. I mean, not even really a hot take. I think that that duo really does step up big time, and they did here. Soj has 90 points, but I think I'll forgive that considering how controlling Florida Southern was in game one. They did not let UTD Green play much offense. I mean, the Comets had Tobal on 62 points, so I guess that 90-point performance of Soj gets overlooked when Tobal is limited because there weren't many points to go around for UTD Green. They couldn't play offense. They had to rely on saves, and even then they were defending well outside their box, so not a whole lot of point generator. It's not that it really matters, but it was a quiet game from UTD Green.
It's funny how the points dynamic works out, because for Florida Southern, Soj did have only 90, but that's because he didn't have to touch the ball.
Yeah.
He is normally who you count on their back line, and when their back line is nowhere near contested, then no wonder he's not touching the ball that often. And also, Zipper had 240 only because he got that last goal there. I mean, he would have had under 200, and Asher would have had like 700. So it's just a funny metric. Have to mention that, but either way, it is completely in the driver's seat for Florida Southern, and UTD Green in the limited VOD that we've talked about, that UTD A-Team series, they did not start out great early in that one either. So you can't count this team out. They are great at their mid-game adjustments, but can they actually pull it out against a hot Florida Southern team?
Well, that's what game two will hopefully answer for us. Is it'll be tough to reverse sweep Florida Southern if UTD do have to go that route, especially with their limited ability to play offense so far in this set. In fact, we're kicking off, and Florida Southern haven't even really touched their half outside of the first couple of moments of game two here. So it's looking like more of the same for the Moccasins as they control possession well, but Soj has the ball beaten over his head. Tobal bumps him out, but Zipper has his teammates back.
Might have to do it once again, looking middle for a teammate. Will find Astro as all three members of UTD Green rotating along the same line, and that miscommunication, not something that we're used to seeing from either of the UTD teams, as they both made it to Tier 1 for a reason, and all are also new entrants alongside this Florida Southern roster, and that's something to keep in mind too, that they are all new to the chaos of the SCL, and Florida Southern maybe got an earlier taste of it with some of their series, but again, we always have to talk about that UTD A-Team upset, but at this point, and especially if they go down here 2 games, I wonder if that game may be going out of style as they lose out on that potential top 4 spot.
I mean, that would be kind of the stakes of this. With both teams at 2 and 3 right now, it's even more dire than the 2 and 2 matchup we saw between UTK and UCF a second ago. I mean, that number 4 spot really is between the winner of this and if Auburn or Texas Tech want to make a run here. And UT Arlington as well, I should shout out, as their back half is a bit softer than their front half. So massive victory here puts the winner of this series in the driver's seat for that number 4 slot in Tier 1 Pool 2, but it seems like UTD Green has some life now. They have found some substantial time spent in the FSCN that won't turn into a goal right here, but at least it's 2 shots, and that's already better than Game 1.
They've had multiple great looks, and that's why I brought up the point about what happened in that series against the A team, but hold the phones for a second, because Astro will do what Astro does best, and that's win.
I mean, he just had to catch and flick right here. UTD Green were the ones that were just giving him isolated moments to beat them. And you got to attack him with a better layer defense than that. It's too easy for Astro. And again, he is a big part of what FSC is doing in offense. But Zipper nabs another one. Good on cleanup duty. And that is a completely open net that Astro cuts on and can't actually read. So Florida Southern have to maintain just a 1-goal lead for now.
See if Tobel can try and give UTD Green another offensive chance. There's still a lot of game left, but you cannot let that one go as Soj just simply double jumps over 2.
That is a rough one. He beats the 1, and Dorado there is betting on the second man of UTD Green getting a touch, and that's a tough bet when you're taking an aerial 50-50 like that. And Soj clean beats him and is rewarded for his efforts. 2-0. Makes this a very dominant start for Florida Southern now through 2 games, and that was the closest shave that they've suffered in defense, but even then, UTD Green can't find their first goal of this set.
Astro will try to make sure that storyline doesn't change, as UTD might give up another one here, and Astro opens up the door for Zipper, who had just opened up the entire UTD Green net with a bump play.
And Zipper again out in front of the UTD Green goal that is just the tap-in merchant of this series. It is set up nicely with a little bit of room, and UTD, I was hoping they would come into this series with a little bit more pizzazz and C-team magic, but they're starting to fall into the C-team mantra. It's a nice save, but UTD Green really need to get going soon here.
That was a pre-jumped Astro as well, as the highlight plays might not be done for Florida Southern, as that was a great tap from Soj Zipper, but not a lot of boost in either one of their tanks, as Astro will go flying past your screens now, and so it's up to Soj to maybe be the next highlight player. 90 seconds left here. Astro's going to go straight for net. It's a ripper! Dead center, and UTD Green are down a slippery slope right now.
7-0 is the score so far through 8.5 minutes of play, essentially. And I was hoping that Game 2 would give us more hope for UTD Green, but it's looking like a reverse sweep is the path that we'll have to take, as kickoff actually has been won. Dorado's got space now, has beaten the first man up for FSC, but Soj on the goal line does well. Zipper follows it up with a win into space, and he should be able to clear now.
Dorado, though, will receive the half-attempted clear with not a lot of boost from his end, so we'll see if there's something that can happen for UTD. You've got to find something early to even have a distinct chance of a comeback here, as UTD Green have struggled enough in the back half of this game in terms of creating offense, and now Dorado does have a Waisical middle, but not able to find it, is now Tobel. Has a free ball, 50 seconds left to go, and that touches low, and so it's easy for Zipper. So once again, Florida Southern take a strong lead, and there is still plenty of time left, but it might just be a formality, as there could be another open chance here. How about a 5th goal? Astro says, I'll take my 2nd.
Well, Series 1 for FSC on the mainstream was a labored effort against Auburn Navy, and it seems like they have shown up ready to put on a showcase on the Esports SCL channel tonight. It's now 8 consecutive goals to open up this series. And Forbidden Temple looks like their home turf here. Astros got 2, Zippers got a ton, and it's everybody involved here. Soj has 300 points. No more double-digit games for him in the score column. And I didn't think that was ever on anyone's radar, but it is a showcase of all 3 members of the Moccasins team tonight.
UTD maybe looking for just a sliver of hope. That's an absolute ripper dead middle. It's a great shot and pass, but it is dead center, so it's going to be easily saved, and Astro might just find another one for fun. 5 seconds left. UTD Green will try to make sure they don't give one up of their own here, as you don't want to go into game 3. I mean, the scoring margin's already bad enough as is, but you don't want to give up one here. But Astro might just do it. He's got a chance, has a reset, won't need to use it. Almost had it under that dominance of UTD, but Florida Southern, again, I mentioned in the driver's seat, they may already be out of town.
5-0. Aggregate shot totals as well, as I'm adding it up, is now 20-5 so far, as FSC have quadrupled UTD Green's shot output as well. And, you know, it's not always a telling sign of what's happened in this series, but I think here it is, because UTD Green has gotten better opportunities in the offensive zone, but still limited amounts. I think that passing play, a Weisicle to, I think it was Tobel, or maybe it was Gerardo, actually. Someone else that he's passing to, obviously, there at the end, and that was the closest that they've gotten to scoring in this series. And if they can find more opportunities like that, especially in transition, while not giving up 5 goals, maybe there's a way back, but it's looking rough right now.
Yeah, that was Gerardo, and he had both of the best looks for UTD. He had the 2 most powerful shots that were both not placed that well, and to be frank, easily saved by whoever the last member of Florida Southern's rotation was at the time. So for UTD Green, your backs are against the wall. I think at this point, your season isn't on the line per se, but within a week's time, it could feel like this series was the one you should have gotten. So now, with that UTD team upset, with what has been a great season for them, can they actually create worth for it? I'm not sure what to expect here, as we do have a slight delay before we hop into game number 3.
Well, I suppose it'll give me time to talk about the point you made about season being on the line. I honestly don't think that's too crazy a prospect here, because only 4 teams of 32 make it out of the last chance qualifier. And the loser of this series is probably playing in that last chance qualifier, knowing that you've only got 1 set left, and the head-to-head will go to whoever wins this series. So I think your odds of making a run towards LAN dramatically increase with a win in this series. And it feels extremely dramatic to break it down to a single best of 5, but this is the SEL, and with how insane our LCQs do tend to get, I don't think it's too crazy to say.
LCQs and the overall movement of teams from the fall top 8 as well. I mean, we're talking about a UTK team that might not even survive after the first round, or maybe could even struggle to make the LCQs. So this series becomes even more important when you're talking about where we may be in about 2.5 months' time, looking at that land and looking at the spring championships as well. But the answer is right in front of us here. Game 3, Florida Southern. I mean, I mentioned it as a joke earlier, but maybe it's true. Taking out the anger from that 18 Game 5 loss.
Well, talking about top 8 points, and definitely taking out anger on the poor C team of UTD. But, I mean, there are 3 members of the current top 8 in points that are no longer playing in the SEL this spring, with 2 members, Old Dominion FIU and UNCC sitting out this spring. That's 3, plus UTK makes it 4 that may not be contending for points if they're not in the LCQ. So there is a lot of room up at the top of the league at the moment. And right now, Florida Southern's making a strong case as to why one of those top 8 teams at the end of the spring split should be them. But UTD Green, they still have some work to do and time to get that work done. With offense being played, maybe they can start something in the early goings here on Driftwoods.
You definitely don't want to fight odds when it comes to the SEL in your season. And Florida Southern are a team that have shown now on stream 1.5 times. They haven't finished up this second return yet. But they've shown that they are very capable of controlling their own destiny. And we'll have to see what happens. And if they do end up making one of those top 4 spots, how playoffs go for them. But Either way, the LCQ is a dangerous place to be, and UTD Green, a newcomer to the league, but with having conversations with team captain Oisicle, I make sure I'm pronouncing that right, Bepic, by the way. I might be completely frauding that, but either way, I've talked with him about the SCL a little bit. He's been in chat plenty of times, and he's aware of how crazy that this league can get. And so I know for a fact the entire team and program are aware of it. So I wonder if that's going to have any effect on this game. But 2 minutes in, we're dead even still.
He also is an avid watcher of State of the SCL. He was invited to be on it last time that we had a show, but he drives home from work and listens to the podcast. So shout out the avid listeners of State of the SCL in chat right now if you can hear me saying this. Every Tuesday, for the most part, we were off this week, but still, every Tuesday to discuss the league. And if Florida Southern does pull this off in sweeping fashion, maybe perfect sweeping fashion, then that'll absolutely be a topic of conversation this coming Tuesday on the show. But they still have to close things out and are playing a good bit more defense in this game 3 than previously. That's a tough save from Soj, but he still does make the block.
2 minutes left to go. Florida Southern's looked dominant up until this game, but now we're finally starting to see the UTD Green that we expected to see maybe in that Game 2 adjustment, as this one goes flying downfield off of Zipper's car accidentally from Gerardo as well. And now Astro will try to reset Florida Southern, give them their first major chance, as Tobel's in an awkward spot, but is able to get it off to the side wall and won't find a 50, but it's a great touch from Weisicle, who will be able to use that dominance disadvantage, a longer car, obviously, and almost finds the pinch as well. But now Tobel using his Fennec to maybe find something middle. It will be another touch for UTD, who are really finding some great offensive stabs once again, but they cannot find that last touch. But neither can Florida Southern. So 90 seconds left here. A lot to happen, a lot to be known.
4 shots for UTD Green. Again, improving as this series gets along, but they still have yet to score that first. And here, Florida Southern with 3 saves on 4 shots have proven to be a difficult wall of a back line to get through. Though here Zipper has missed. That puts Astro in a 1v1, though it's just against a one-timer that he can't keep possession out of. So Tobel will put UTD Green on the board almost 15 minutes into this series.
It's a rare mistouch from Astro. I don't know if he meant to double jump or not, but the ill-advised play is to put that ball anywhere. I mean, really put it anywhere but the middle at that point. And, of course, that's a great bounce shot. Not the cleanest play, but UTD Green have shown many times not on stream yet, but off stream for sure, that they're willing to take wins at any cost necessary. So they get their first lead of the entire series. They get their first goal of the entire series. Can they parlay it into a game win?
Stop this. Astro almost got some revenge after very rarely making the critical mistake that conceded an FSC goal. But Soj will find Astro again, looking for a double in the corner, but gravity is too cruel to allow him back towards that ball, though UTD Green's a little bit scrambled in defense, and even more so with Zipper taking out a Weisicle, but Elbow clears a lot of room for the Comets here, and that room will be defended by the newly respawned Weisicle. Again, Astro's giving the ball away here. I'm not sure what's going on for the Moccasins, but now's not the time to be making big errors in defense.
Tobel will make another one. It's going to open up the door for Astro. 2 players go for UTD Green. There could be an even 50, but Soj is met quickly by Gerardo. But now Zipper back to himself. Looks for the net, is on the backboard, but UTD Green have scored 1 goal this entire series, but win Game 3 regardless. What a weird change of pace.
I've gotten confirmation for Twitch chat it's a Weisicle, so thank you very much. I have also kind of wondered, but it was one of those things where I've talked to him too much, interacted with him too much. I felt awkward asking, but I'm glad we got that now, and I'm glad UTD Green is finally on the board as well. Better late than never, I think, in both senses, as the aggregate scoreline is still 8-1 FSC, but hey, it's 2-1 in the series, and that's really what matters.
I'm glad we got the Oisicle thing cleared up, because I know him by his first name, so I feel really bad not knowing his gamer tag. I mean, he's a great figure in the collegiate space. I got to go against him for an award not that long ago at the Scholastic Esports Awards. He's a great dude and a great team captain, and he's wheeled his boys here into a decent spot. You've shown that you can, A, handle Florida Southern on defense, and the offense still has some asterisks and question marks by it, but much better still.
Way to subtly get that you won a collegiate esports award in there, TJ. I like the subtle flex. That's well done. You've figured out how to do that well. But yeah, UTD Green. Let's see if they can keep that Game 3 win going, because momentum from Driftwoods is going to be difficult to keep against the Florida Southern team that I'm sure know that they're fighting for that top 4 spot after losing to UTD.
I mean, if you get to throw a State of the SEL ad, then I might as well put a little bit of my own spark in there.
Yeah, so same thing there, same thing.
Yeah, of course. You know what? We'll count it. And for UTD Green, you'll count that last game as even as Florida Southern's win as well. And even though they were more blowout style, I mean, again, on the scorecard, it is a 2-1 series. We are in a unironically awkward spot where if UTD Green can just get another 1-0, or maybe some crazy overtime 1-0, who knows what they're going to get it by at this time, but then they're going to be a reverse sweep watch. So a whole lot could happen here in the next 5 minutes, but I know for a fact Florida Southern's trying to get out of here and call it a night.
What I'm hoping for, not because I'm cheering for UTD Green, but because I love statistical chaos, is 3 consecutive 1-0 wins. And so the aggregate scoreline is 8-0 Florida Southern, but they lose in Game 5. That would be SEL worthy. But UTD Green, if they keep Florida Southern out of the green net for 3 consecutive games, that would be complete scenes, because Florida Southern looks so good offensively to open this series up, and still do, but UTD Green have certainly upgraded their backline defense.
I'm glad you bring that up, because that would also mean, in terms of statistical chaos, that Florida Southern would lose to both UTD teams in 5.
Oh,
not even to mention that this would have to be a reverse sweep. So I'm all here for it. Again, not picking sides, but I'm here for the chaos, what this league's all about. And so far, a minute 30 in, it's feeling eerily similar.
Off the backboard, Zipper's awkward, but no one's there to punish immediately for the Comets. Now they play defense all the way at the end of the other pitch. Zipper's connected with Tobel's car. Make that Gerardo as well. Wasicle, the only remaining member of UTD Green there for a second, but does well to buy time, and we'll have to buy some more here, though has just whiffed. Zipper wasn't ready for it, so FSC can't immediately punish, and this is a strange Game 4 so far.
Uh-oh. Also going to be another chance for UTD Green as Gerardo looks to shoot, but once again hits it in the dead middle of the net, so Astro's there. Tobel will call off Gerardo as, I'll pronounce it right this time, Wasicle will almost find something on the right side. Gerardo gets another shot, but once again, it's put middle. So UTD Green definitely winning the offensive battle right now, but can they win the war? And this passing play is at least an attempt to plant a flag down, but halfway through, still no goals.
Soj has some space, but can't keep the ball close. The ceiling interfered, though. They had Astro to help him clear the zone. Took out a Wasicle, so there's the trifecta dead for UTD Green if we're extending that last double demo play of FSC over into this one. Either way, the Moccasins are hunting heads on the UTD Green side, though Comets have Zipper in an awkward spot. They got aggressive. Doesn't quite pan out, but still, they find a shot saved by Astro, and he is there for his 3rd save of the game.
What a save by Astro, but again, UTD, they're finding the passing plays that they've been asking for, but they keep shooting it in the dead middle of the net. They have got to go for an extra pass or find a corner eventually, because you're giving Florida Southern too many chances here, as the counterattack will be temporarily kind of thwarted, as now Zipper will have to take a soft touch off the corner. It's not as safe as he'd like, as now Tobel has a chance to find more opportunity. No double, Gerardo's there as well, but he was more so looking for a bump. Astro up and over 1, not able to find the second, but it will bounce well for Soj, who has to watch out. He's got a guy behind him, but he's got Tobel in front of him as well, as it will be a Wasicle who gets a great 50 there, but Astro up next, trying to put the team on his back for the last minute here. Almost finds the double, but it's just barely off.
Wasicle will need some help. Tobel steps up, but Florida Southern have UTD Green low on boost and kind of scrambling a bit here in defense. The demo will actually help. It's a partial refuel of the tank of a Wasicle. Gerardo now, no boost, finds the ball out in front of him. Looking for a 50-50, but Soj delayed it enough to where he can just dominate after the ball comes off the sidewall, and Florida Southern allow it to leak middle. They can't build anything off of it. 45 seconds left, and we're still scoreless. 2 consecutive 1-0 wins might be a potential prospect here, but it'll be Florida Southern taking it 1-0. They found an open net.
UTD Green, that's too aggressive in crunch time. Your third man's at the midfield line, and the second man challenge was too soon, and that's a crucial one to give up here. A mistake that we're not used to seeing them make, at least in the back half of this series, but now they finally get put in their true clutch test. Can they get a goal back and then clinch game 4 and potentially put us to 5? Astro will try to end those rumors as he almost finds an air dribble over 3, as this ball will still be in front, and Soj may have just put those rumors to bed early, as that's a, dang near slot bottom right.
I'm glad to see the FSC wake back up. They've not found space like that out in front of the UTD green net in pretty much 2 full games of Rocket League. So they get it to go, and with 20 seconds left, that clutch situation that you referenced UTD green being in just grew even clutcher. And that is actually space for a Wasicle, but so just ready for it. Still, it's forced into a 50-50, but now Astro can kill this game, kill this series as he's on the ball, has kept UTD Green back. It's a valiant comeback attempt, but Florida Southern win 3 consecutive shutout games en route to a 3-1 win. And actually, they didn't win 3 games in a row. They were all shutouts, I suppose, consecutively. But UTD Green showed some fight. The Moccasins, though, dispose of them.
Hey, a game win is a game win. Whenever we get down to those tiebreakers, there is a world where this will come back to help UTD Green, but it honestly felt like they could have messed around and gone to 5 and maybe even won this series if they got off on the right foot. Florida Southern obviously played a beautiful set of Rocket League in the first 2 games, and even in the third, not a bad set, just not as effective offensively. But my biggest question here to kick off our conversation is that still a perfect sweep with 1 goal happening?
If we just close our eyes for the entirety of Game 3, yes, it's a perfect sweep for Florida Southern. But I think they'll take a 10-1 overall, 3-1 victory over maybe a perfect sweep that was a bit sweatier, because they had to up their game a little bit towards the end of that set. But for the most part, FSC did look the part of a potential team that could clinch a spot in playoffs after Week 4 concludes.
10-1 against a team that was very much a contender after their original start to the season. It's a good win, regardless of on-paper rank or performance, and it's not as much of a testament to Florida Southern's success as it is maybe how worried we should be about the sustainability of the UTD Green half of things, as obviously they started out really well, but now they're on a pretty rough stretch of games here.
Well, looking elsewhere right now, we did have a lot of reschedules this week, and there aren't too many results in Tier 1 to speak of at the moment. Looking down in Tier 2, shout out Auburn Orange, a 2-0 day for them as they beat Texas Tech White and UAH Blue. So we might have a potential new contender for the probably 2 spot, as ETD JV got the win over Auburn Orange a couple of weeks ago. But in Pool 5 of Tier 2, it's a hotly contested race for that number 1 spot.
I'm going to change and take away from your point a little bit. I was checking out Pool 3. UTK Orange is still keeping their season alive. They did handle business against USCB in sweeping fashion. And then also taking a very short look at Pool 4, the next most contested group. Kentucky handles business against Florida State A, which I believe will clinch their spot at the very top, as I don't think they've lost a series yet. And then
FAU's undefeated as well.
Yeah, and Georgia and Florida Atlantic are in Game 5. So that's a crucial game for that potential 4th or 3rd spot, and potentially even the 5th, depending on how the rest of these tiebreakers and wins shake out. But that's a tough one as well. And also that UGA FSU series we haven't seen a result from as well. So Pool 4 getting spicy.
And what that means for Kentucky is that they will play FAU. Should FAU beat UGA in Game 5, which they should be doing, no offense to your Bulldogs, TJ, but that sets them up for a Week 4 clash with the top of Pool 4 on the line. But, talking to both Skies and Coop in different mediums about their teams, Coop taking FAU to Game 5 is extremely impressive, because he was telling me this is a learning season for them. Him learning how to lead, and TJ, I know you're very familiar with the storylines of UGA, but they are learning a lot this semester, and apparently they've learned quickly.
I mean, I can very quickly attest to that team. Meard and Luneta are basically brand new to the UGA system of things. I'm only coming in within the last about 6-7 months, and they've looked talented. I mean, that FAU win would be huge for not only their fate, but also for Kentucky's fate, who, funny enough, UGA just beat Kentucky in CCS. So a whole lot of big school madness and maybe cannibalism going on across different leagues. And we will hopefully have that result to talk about. But as of right now, I haven't gotten it yet, at least from my end. I don't know if you have anything.
Still looking.
Still nothing for me.
No, nothing else. We'll have more to talk about on State of the SEL, I suppose, on Tuesday. But we'll be keeping an eye on that FAU UGA series for sure, because in the replies to the power rankings today, Skies was actually, I mean, not heated, but he disagreed with the committee that FAU should be top 8 still in tier 2, as they were number 9, so they didn't make it onto the graphic. But going to game 5 against UGA is not a great look. Though that Kentucky series really is the big one for them, regardless of the result here, as they could get the tie, the head-to-head tie. But still, that's all we got. TJ, you have anything else to add to the stream before we do sign off for the evening?
No, I mean, State of the SEL had a week break, so expect the hot takes this next week to be diabolical. It's also spring break for me, so now I get even more time to be unemployed and cook up some god-awful takes. And it's my birthday on Wednesday, so it'll be a fun week. It'll be a fun SEL week to talk about, how I can make people mad in the SEL. So we're going to have a good time.
All right. Well, we'll get to wish TJ happy birthday next week on stream. But for now, hope you all enjoyed our 2 series tonight. Make sure you are back here tomorrow night for Valorant. Same time, same place, just a completely different esport. So you'll be in the hands of Scott and Dallas for that one. For now, shout out MSI one more time. Make sure you are supporting MSI however you can through the SEL, as sponsors are a big part of how we're able to run the league. So that does it for week 3. I'm Mr. Bepic. Shaka in the background has been phenomenal as our producer. TJ, thank you for joining me in the booth. Thank you all for watching, and farewell for the night. Have a great evening.